You mentioned something there as well that I thought was interesting, which is the treatment of revenue. And there's the ASC 606. It's counterpart of IFRS 15 over in Europe. And when we were talking, while it's mandated over in the US with the 606, that's actually not the case in Europe. But you actually mentioned something interesting in our previous dialogue around the advice that you're providing startups in the EU, on whether how much attention I suppose they should pay to IFRS 15. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So for, I think half the audience here is between 1 to 10 million ARR today. And so that means likely you're not yet reporting under IFRS, which is a internationally recognized accounting standard. What is most likely the situation is that you're reporting under local regulatory requirements. However, if you start selling into the US or you become a global entity or global business with multiple entities, at some stage you're going to have to report under IFRS, which means that as a SaaS business, you need to follow the principles of ASC 606. And I'm just going to requote what was mentioned in a trade report that I read recently, Accounting Today, which said that ASC 606 is probably one of the biggest changes in the accounting industry for over 100 years. And the reason it's been a big change is because fundamentally, there are 5 conditions in which you need to meet as a SaaS business in order to recognize revenue. And I won't go into detail on those 5 conditions because you can actually find it on the Chargebee blog, written very clearly. But in particular, why this makes it, let's say, more challenging for companies that are switching from local statutory reporting to IFRS is that it means that the foundation, which I heard in the previous session by Ben, when it comes to your bookkeeping and specifically your general ledger and your chart of accounts, needs to be done ideally accurately from day one. And that's often, I would say, not the case for most early stage European SaaS companies because a lot of your local bookkeepers and accounting firms don't yet have a wealth of experience when it comes to the nuances of the SaaS business. One of the practicalities of that is that they're just not in the business day to day, right? And they're managing lots of different clients. So they're not close to the customers. They're not close to the leadership in the business. And so what is really important is that you need to have a tool and a process in place to actually recognize revenue according to these principles. And increasingly so for a lot of companies we work with, we actually use the subscription management solution as a single source of truth rather than your core accounting system because it's closest to the truth of where your customer contracts lie, and it gives you the best indication of what is actually recognized revenue for a business.
Yeah, great points. And I think this is all, exacerbated with complexity due to the agile nature of the businesses that we were just talking about, because all those changes that happen to these subscription plans impact the way that revenue is going to be recognized. And when you start getting into hundreds, then thousands of these plans, and there's modifications and add-ons and changes happening to each one of those customers' plans, then that's going to impact that, the revenue recognition for each. We realize the complexity and heavy lift that this required. I think you alluded to kind of having subscription management platforms being the source of truth, and then we've added on that ability for the revenue recognition piece because it is really complicated. So I totally agree.